Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining the 13th edition of SRCC Business Conclave. We would like to introduce Shri Prakash Javadekar ji, the Honorable Minister for Environment, Forest and Climate Change, Information and Broadcasting, Public Enterprise and Heavy Industry. His contribution in the fields of politics has largely contributed to the development of the nation. He is a man who likes to lead by example and an inspiration for people of the country. His association with the Ministry of HRD also had a deep impact on the students. His reforms were greatly appreciated and were instrumental in the holistic development of the student community. We are confident that it will have a critical role in achieving the visions to which we aspire. We take immense pride in having Shri Prakash Javadekar ji at SRCC Business Conclave 2021. We would also like to introduce Honorable Principal Ma'am Simrit Kaur. Professor Kaur holds a PhD from Faculty of Management Studies. Her book, Privatization and Public Regulation, The Indian Experience, published by Macmillan India, received the Best Book Award. Honored by Business School Affairs, Professor Kaur is a recipient of the Best Professor in Public Policy Award. She has been a constant source of inspiration and support to the students. Her guidance is such that has always shown the way. She has motivated and pushed us harder every single day to achieve more. We are extremely grateful for her blessings, without which this grand event wouldn't have been possible. Thank you, ma'am, for gracing the session with your presence.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Now, we request ma'am to welcome Honorable Prakash Javadekar sir for the keynote address on the topic Environmental Governance in India.
We are extremely delighted, sir, to have you with us.
Thank you.
Honorable Minister Shri Prakash Javadekar ji. Sir, each ministry that you have handled has been so important, and every measure that you have taken has been extremely effective. Whether we talk about the present ministry or the erstwhile ministries, Ministry of Education presently, but HRD, sir, it has been a pleasure to listen to you at different forums. Your talks and your thoughts are thought-provoking and so extremely structured that it surely ignites the fire in the youth to take forward the initiatives and direction in which, sir, you want the nation to be moving forward. Particularly if we talk about the recent decades, climate change and global warming have been the most important buzzwords for sustainable development. No longer are we aspiring only for growth, but growth which is also sustainable. But the kind of temperature rises and the volatility in the rainfall patterns, which have totally changed the seasonal patterns of growing and sowing and harvesting crops, has led to issues of food security and decline in agricultural productivity. Under the scenario, we know that if we are not able to mitigate the adverse effects of the climate change, there is going to be immense adverse impact on the lives and livelihoods of the people, particularly of the more destitute and vulnerable sections of the society. Undoubtedly, this is a time which requires cooperation and coordination, not just amongst different national level bodies, but also at the regional and the international levels. So global cooperation is a must. If we look up some of the parameters where there are glaring hard facts which show up, is something known as the climate risk index and the water scarcity index. Unfortunately, in India is ranked at number 7 when it comes to the risks which are associated with climate. We have other countries, including Japan, which is even more risky in terms of the adverse implications of the climate change. Added to is the fact that our water scarcity, we are practically at a hazardous level. And it's not just for India, but also for other countries of the South Asia. Many of us are in the region which is not conducive for the water bodies. Several things that the government can do, government has already started to doing, but a long way to go. Particularly if we talk about the environmental Kuznets curve, we do know that there is, in the initial phases of development, a direct correlation between growth and carbon emissions. Can we then reduce the growth path only to reduce the carbon emissions? it is certainly not very desirable when we are still an emerging economy. At the same time, it is also very important that extreme amount of investments take place in infrastructure, especially pertaining to, let's say, irrigation, carbon taxation, carbon trading, Kyoto Protocol. Why is it that countries are not in a position to come forward? Intergovernmental panels on climate change, far too many initiatives. And I would personally look forward, sir, listening to your own interaction with the students on environmental governance. I'm eagerly looking forward for your views, sir. Thank you for making this happen for Sri Ram College of Commerce, for the Business Conclave. Once again, sir, we welcome you. And I personally, as well as on behalf of Sri Ram College of Commerce, welcome you and also look forward to listening to your very pertinent observations on an equally important topic, sir. Thank you so much for gracing the occasion.
Shall I start?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. I'm very happy to be all students and teachers and professors of SRCC College, but they will excuse me because I was late by 7 minutes. It was because I had gone for regular test. At 70, you need to keep your health also in a better shape. And therefore, I came little late from hospital and I'm in casuals only because, but students will forgive me. So
Sir, allow me to intervene. We were informed by your office, so we were well aware. So absolutely no need to be apologetic, sir. We were informed in advance. Thank you.
first, the context. You talked about water scarcity, which is very real. The context is that India has only 2.5% of the world's land mass. And we have 16% population of the world. We have 16% of the cattle population of the world. And we have only 4% of world's natural water resources, means natural water, बारिश का पानी 4% मिलता है हमें. So the problem is we have land is scarce, water is scarce, population and cattle population, which both require land, which both require water and fodder, that is large. And therefore, in this context, we have this maximum constraints in all our developmental parameters and all our actions. So we need to be more cautious about how we use these limited natural resources. That is the way of going ahead. Second context. Today, we are talking about climate change. At the outset, let me be very clear that every climate event is not climate change. More rains is not, people attribute everything to any unnatural event or any unnatural weather event, they take it as climate change. Some are yes, some are not. Fact is that for over thousands of years, nature is playing its own role and there are variations in various kinds of parameters. At the same time, it is also a fact that last 100 or 200 years, we have started feeling, and particularly last 60, 70 years, we have started experiencing the bad impacts of climate change. What is climate change? The climate change is, that is extra emissions of carbon which have remained in the atmosphere and therefore they don't allow flow of solar energy or movement of gases outside the orbit, and therefore they are retained here and we are experiencing high temperatures. We are experiencing impacts of climate change. Sea level rise little, though it's 1 millimeter per year or 0.7 in India, millimeter per year. So it can be seen as a slow, but there is a growing tendency. So the receding glaciers also all world is witnessing. So these are some impacts of climate change that we are experiencing. And there is more frequency of untimely rains, more rains, drought, and many other things what we experience related with the rains. So let us understand first that how this climate change started happening. After the Industrial Revolution, the carbon emissions increased because of coal. And the carbon emissions created all this problem because carbon remains in the atmosphere for more than 100 years. So what today we are experiencing is the accumulation of last 100 years of carbon emission. And who has done this? It is US is 30% of historical carbon emissions. Europe is another 30% of carbon emissions, historical. China started late, but is doing more, and therefore it is nearly 20%. India is only 3% for carbon emissions over last century or 2 centuries. So we are not responsible for climate change. But because we are suffering, because we are vulnerable, and in any such crisis, in any such disasters, who suffers? The poor. And therefore, we have to be doing more actions to save ourselves, to have balanced development. And that is why in Paris, our Prime Minister Narendra Modi talked about climate justice, that it is you countries which have contributed for climate change, which are cause of climate change. So you must help those who are suffering, and there has to be climate justice. The second concept he told about stems from Gandhiji's teaching. The earth can provide enough for human needs, but not human greed. That is very important. And therefore he raised the issue of lifestyle. Our lifestyle has to be sustainable. And if we consume too much beyond everything, and I'll give 3 figures for this. Cars, numbers of cars in India is growing. But how much? We have, as of today, 25 cars per 1,000 population. America has 700 cars per 1,000 population. China has 300 cars per 1,000 population. Japan has 500 cars per population. Europe has also nearly 500-600 cars per 1,000 population. So when you use so many cars, there will be emissions, there will be other impacts on pollution. Let us not also confuse about pollution and climate change. These are 2 different phenomena. There are many common factors responsible for all these things, but pollution is different and climate change is different. So what is happening? He put in more emphasis on sustainable lifestyle. And I think that's the topic today. Unless as individual, unless as a country, we become sustainable, our resources will never be enough. And therefore my first appeal and I'm today announcing one new program. When I was education minister, I had started a competition amongst colleges and universities of clean universities. And clean universities means cleaning the whole campus. Now we want to make sustainable campus. And sustainable campus, because in cleanliness drive, thousands of 40,000, we have 40,000 colleges, out of which 7,000-8,000 colleges started participating. So that was a good beginning. Now we are taking it to a further level in cooperation with the Ministry of Education. We will make a competition for college campuses, universities, to become sustainable green campus. What are the fundamentals of that competition? First is consume less water and generate more water. How to generate? As we know, at our houses also, we can now have from rooftop, whatever rains give us water, we can harvest it and put it together. If there are large universities where there are different kinds of topography in the campus, we can have watershed development or water harvesting system in campus itself. We have to design. For maintaining water and increasing the groundwater table, we have to plant greenery. That also creates carbon sink, which absorbs carbon. And India has put a very huge target of creating 2 billion tons of carbon sequestration in next 10 years. So, plant more trees, but now I have changed it. Plant and grow more trees, because there is much enthusiasm in planting of trees. But you have to nurture it, you have to maintain it. So I am giving one program to all of you. In our college campus, if we have the space, or in university campus, if we have a space or any other spot you can pick up and plant and ensure its growth. Student, when he will join the college, he will plant the tree, he will nurture the tree, visit the tree every week, and ensure its growth, proper growth, so that by the time he comes out of college or university with degree, he will also have one own tree for himself. That is how things can be really, and that gets ingrained into our culture. So we are also starting school nurseries. We are also creating urban forests. Our forest tree cover, forest and outside forest, tree cover has increased by 15,000 square kilometers in last 6 years. We are only the second country where tree cover is growing with that speed. We had taken in Paris 3 commitments. But before that Paris commitment, that will be my last point. But before that, let me complete this sustainable campus. So save electricity, generate electricity. So switch off when not necessary. Switch on only when necessary. And that also now LED bulbs. In India, under Modiji's leadership, we have changed 2 billion bulbs in last 6 years. From normal bulbs, 40 watt, 60 watt, to now 9 watt or more watt LED bulbs. What we did, the price was exorbitant, 300 rupees for 9 watt bulb. We did mass bargaining with all the producers that we are going to place billions of bulbs order. Now tell us what price you will give. and now the price is 70 rupees. So that is spreading fast, and I'm very sure that we will be changing all the normal bulbs with LED bulbs in few years from now. So this is a new revolution we are bringing in. It saves carbon emission. It saves electricity generation. It saves you from your extra bills. It is win-win situation. And more importantly, solar energy. In college campus also, we must have something, some space, and we must talk to college management and create our own solar roof. Do visit to our building of environment in Jorbagh, because that environment is self-sustainable. We generate electricity from rooftop solar, whatever we require, nearly 1 megawatt. So this is, we are doing ourselves. And you can just see the sustainable buildings, the sustainable life way of our AC runs at 26 degrees Celsius. Because otherwise, at many places or offices I go and I see it's cold, shivering temperature. There is, because the temperature AC is on 18. I thought, why they stop at 18? Because below that, the machine can't go below 18. If the remote would have been possible to take it to 10 degrees, people would have done that. And therefore, we have to be sustainable in all ways. So electricity generation, save electricity, generate electricity. Save water, generate water. More importantly, maintain your vehicle properly. PUC. Don't use cars for jobs nearby your house. Do it more on cycle. Do it more on electrical scooty. That is the sustainable way of life. And if we do that, we save energy, we save emissions, we really fighting on climate change. We have already, last point, we have already reduced our emission intensity by nearly 26%, and we have committed in Paris that we will be cutting it by 35% till 2030. We will overachieve it. As I said, our forest cover is growing, and I'm very sure with land degradation, restoration of land, degraded land, we are sure that we will create enough carbon sequestration to achieve our targets. In renewable, Prime Minister has taken a wonderful lead internationally and nationally. Today, our energy capacity mix is 38%. 38%. And we will be giving, so we are leader in renewable energy. With 136 gigawatts, 136,000 megawatt is our renewable energy today. So this is what capacity we have added to it. We will go ahead with, and we are the overachievers as far as Paris is concerned. In the last 5 years, we have been ranked at the top, the only G20 country which is following its Paris commitments. And we have been adjudged best country in implementation of Paris Agreement by different international United Nations bodies and climate trackers and many other bodies, giving their index also that India has done laudably good. So this is the way of sustainable life. We will start with this sustainable college campus competition. We will come out with details of it, but it is reusing all resources also, because circular economy is last aspect which I must touch. Circular economy is We will collect waste, we will do proper waste management, we will compost, and biomass, we will use it in college kitchens, and so we don't require gas for cooking. So this all can happen in a sustainable way, and I think that is where we will gain. And I'm very happy last to remind that Prime Minister Modi ji started his wonderful campaign to the nation with talking to youths in SRCC college. That created history. So you are makers of history, you are future of the country. I'm saying you are present of the country. And therefore, everybody should work together to achieve the targets we have set for sustainable development of India. Thank you and all the best.
Thank you so much, sir. It was indeed a pleasure listening to you. And I think the basic crust of your interaction was everything. You must first save and also simultaneously generate. The message, sir, is well taken with the Shri Ram College of Commerce, and we will also take forward whatever you have said, be it in terms of electricity, water, or automobile. Very small initiative, sir. Allow me to just speak in about 30 seconds. You will be happy to know we have solid waste management system at Shri Ram College of Commerce. Waste is being segregated, and we are also preparing compost from the leaf and the other dry stuff that we are collecting. All our roofs, sir, whether it is of the college building or boys hostel, girls hostel, including, sir, the Commonwealth Games where Narendra Modi ji had given his lecture, the entire rooftop is on solar. And we are generating and saving a lot of revenue expenses also, sir. So this is another initiative. Rainwater harvesting we have. And another is Greeno bikes. So when my students take a metro, they have this cycle. We give them free of cost for half an hour. So if they have to do anything nearby, the cycle stand is at the college premises for use of the students, sir. So small initiatives at our end, but we do hope to multiply them, sir. Thank you once again for your wonderful thought-provoking session. I give it back to Shaurya. Shaurya, please take it forward, sir.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, sir, for the enlightening words. It surely will spark the students and enlighten us to do forward with the social management and environment. Thank you, sir, again for your time. And thank you for coming, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you for your patience. These words were certainly enlightening and will certainly help us to go forward in social management and waste management and understand the severity of global warming. So our next speaker would be Abhishek Singhvi. He'll be joining in a few moments. So we request everyone to be patient and be stayed in the evening. Thank you for coming.